Friends, we meet again. My name is Jesse and this is Continues to Improve. Today, I'm going to talk about the 5 foundations that I've noticed are actually very important in my life. And I think this transfers to a lot of men just in general, and it could transfer further to that, to just individuals and people in general. These are the 5 foundations that if you have them in alignment, if you have them to a certain level, there's a likelihood that you're reaching self-mastery, and through that, you're going to be living a successful life. The idea is to raise these foundations to a level that is, conducive for you to be successful. Will you ever actually reach self-mastery and reach these foundations to a point that they're all perfect? The likelihood is probably not, friends. Even if you reach self-mastery by raising up these levels, the idea is in this life, it's continual. The journey itself is continuous. There is no end point. There's no point in this life where you're like, okay, I've made it. I don't have to work anymore on myself. It doesn't exist. The point is to continue to improve in this life, and that's the whole premise of this channel. But as I've continued to live and experience life, these are kind of like the main 5 areas that I think, as long as they're in alignment, these 5 areas, you have a higher chance of being successful. And by recognizing these 5 areas, you can kind of start to pinpoint certain weaknesses in your life to try to elevate them, to become the best version of yourself. So, let's begin. So for the first one, health and fitness. And there's no numerical order with these foundations. They're all important. And maybe as I continue to start to learn more about myself, I'll be able to recognize which ones are more important than others. But overall, because it's the foundation, they're all equally important. But as far as this foundational pillar, health and fitness, what does this mean? This means if we're not healthy, right, we're not in our peak physical performance, it's going to be hard to really make moves in this life. It's going to be hard to be successful. One area that a lot of us see as a weakness is probably our physical health, our physical appearance. There's probably areas that we can improve in, and this is probably one of them. I know I've been there. My journey is still continuous. There's still areas that I want to improve physically. Health-wise, I'm still pretty young, and fortunately, counting macros, working out every day, I can maintain my health, but there's going to become a day where it's going to get harder and harder. One thing that I do like to touch up on this point here is that if you're in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s, friends, 20s, there's really no excuse as to why you're not the healthiest or the most physically fit that you've ever been in your life. Once you start getting on the decline of life in your 50s, upper 50s, 60s, 70s, you have an excuse. There's a reason you can always say as to why you're not physically fit. There's physical limitations to our body. There's physical limitations to our health as well. Our body over time does start to deteriorate, right? But as long as you're in your younger age, friends, one foundational piece you want to keep in check is your health and your fitness. You want to do that. My dad would always say, I'm on the come up. As individuals, men, whoever, we're on the come up until the age of 50. And he said that. He's like, watch, once I hit 50, I'm going to start declining from there. And fortunately or unfortunately, he was right. And it's true. On average, if you think about it, most individuals don't live 100 or over 100 years old. 50 years old is the halfway point. So as long as you're under 50, you should continue to strive to have physical health and your fitness be in top peak performance. You want this to be one of your foundational pillars going through life. Because if this isn't in check, there's a high chance you're not going to be able to accomplish what it is you want to accomplish. Don't let this be a hindrance in your life. It's part of the foundational pillars because you need it. It's part of the formula. So as far as the second one or the next one, like I said, there's no numerical order. It's going to be family and relationships. Family and relationships. So this is clearly, obviously, one of the foundational pillars. A lot of us often don't think about this though. I saw firsthand individuals in my life, I'm not going to name, but they worked so hard throughout their life, and at the end of it all, they didn't have that family. They didn't have that connection. They didn't have those relationships. So one thing you always want to cultivate as a man or an individual is putting energy into the family, putting energy into relationships. Because if you don't have these things, friends, You often enough, when you don't have anything else, you won't have nothing at all. So you got to put energy into this. Apart from health and fitness as one pillar, family and relationships is another. I will open up here and say one of the things that is my weakness is having a high EQ, which is emotional intelligence. Some of you guys probably can relate as men. It is hard to open up. For me, you give me a task and I will do it. I can do that. Give me a blueprint, I could do that. Tell me to love, tell me to open up my heart, and I do struggle. That is a struggle point for me, and I'll be honest with you. But one area that I know, because it is my weakness, it is this one. And because of that, and recognizing that it is part of the foundation, I get to start to put energy into it, start to work on it, and start to help it by helping it build myself up, if that makes sense. So don't neglect this part. This is a foundational piece. If this is right, your health and fitness is right, that is part of your foundation. You're likely doing a lot of things well in your life, and you're on your way to being successful. Let's say you are successful already, and this area is lacking. You're going to notice. You're not going to be able to make connections. You're going to look around for family. It's not going to be there. So be careful, friends. This part does matter, just like health, just like fitness. And that's why it's part of the foundational pillars as well. And as we start to make our journey through this YouTube life here, friends, I will go deeper into these pillars here, like health and fitness, family and relationships, and then start to explain to you what it means, what we can do to improve it, how I've been navigating them, and things like that. But we're making our way through. So number 3, or the third one, again, there's no numerical order, but it is money and career. Money and career. Friends, this is probably the most obvious pillar out of all of them. We know in this life we got to make money. As a man, you want to be a provider. Maybe you're being provided for, but regardless, you want to be able to hold your own ground in this life. And unfortunately, it is a capitalistic world. If you don't make money, you don't likely have value. But if you have value, you can likely make money. You have to learn a skill. You have to learn a trade. You have to learn a method to survive in this life and to fend for yourself. Money is a tool. Money is a tool. Money is a tool. Don't allow money to just wrap around your finger so much. Don't take it too seriously to the point where it controls you. Have it in balance. Have money. Have a solid career. This is a foundational piece. This is probably the most obvious one for a lot of us guys out there. You know, health and fitness is cool. Relationships are cool. But the one thing oftentimes we connect ourselves to is having money and having a solid career. The career part is important. You have to recognize that your career isn't necessarily your identity. That's where you have to be careful. I'm learning that over time. Clocking in, clocking out, entering the workforce, that shouldn't be the end-all be-all. When people think of life, life isn't, I go to work and that's life. That is not life. Life is what you do outside of work. Outside of work is who you are. Don't let your career and the amount of money you make be your identity. Use it as a tool. Leverage a career as a tool. Leverage money as a tool. But in order to be successful in this life, you need your health and fitness to be good. You need your family and relationships to be good. And you also need your money and career as a third or another pillar in this life of the foundation to be good. So keep that in mind, friends. This one's more obvious, but maybe you knew it already, but regardless. So continuing to move right along, friends. What is the fourth or the next pillar of our foundation in this life in order to reach self-mastery, in order to be successful? Things that I think are important as a man or any individual that we need to get in order. This next one is inner peace. So inner peace. This one is also important, friends. This is what you would consider or think to be spirituality, religion, prayer, meditation, things like that. In the silent moment of the night is what I like to think about. In the silent moment of the night, who it is that you are, how it is that you feel about yourself. In that moment, in that deep, quiet spot, in the middle of the night, in your head, are you okay with yourself? Do you have peace? That is what I think of when I think of inner peace. So this is one of the foundational pillars, apart from health and fitness, family and relationships, money and career. Inner peace is also important. You can navigate this life as you make money, as you make relationships, as you have that career that you want, as you're physically fit. But if you don't have inner peace with yourself and who you are at any given moment, your mind's going to be fogged up. You're going to struggle. You're not going to be able to make decisions as well as you want to. You're not going to have that inner peace, that quietness, that control of yourself to be able to navigate a lot of hard decisions. You need inner peace because you need to ultimately be comfortable with who you are in this life. Another way to think about it is, what does life mean to you? A lot of people are religious, so they hang their hat on religion and they, engage in prayer. A lot of people meditate, things like that. I used to grow up and be very religious because of my upbringing, but not so much now. But regardless, I still find inner peace. I find inner peace in learning more about myself, learning more about, the way, my frame of thinking, my mindset, and just what life means to me. What life means to me, for example, is trying to be successful, trying to be the best version of myself, trying to spread kindness, be the best person interacting with other individuals, help bring people up as well when they're down, or just in general when I interact with people. What inner peace means to me may not mean the same thing for you, but regardless, we got to find what it is in our life that keeps us feeling okay with ourselves. Inner peace is very important, because if your world is rocking you around, and you don't have inner peace, you're not going to have much at all, friends. You're not going to feel good about much in your life. Inner peace is so important, and it's one thing that oftentimes we don't think about enough. So find ways to cultivate inner peace with yourself, whether it's through prayer, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through going to Mass or church. I grew up Catholic. I'd go to church and Mass all the time. Not so much anymore, but I have found ways to take a better individual control of my life that also make me still feel good. So find what it is that works for you, friends. In future videos, I'll discuss ways on how to cultivate this, how I cultivate it, and a little bit more about what it means in this life. But I just wanted to mention it here as one of the foundational pieces and pillars in our life. And for the last one here, friends, we have mindset. We've had health and fitness, we've had family and relationships, we had career and money, we've had inner peace, and now we have mindset. It's not the fifth and the last one. Like I said, there's no particular order with these as of yet, to my knowledge. I haven't really learned them all so in depth where I can rank them quite yet, but maybe one day I will. But mindset is very important. It almost goes hand in hand with inner peace, but mindset is slightly different. Mindset is being able to cultivate this mindset for yourself that you can accomplish any goal. It's kind of cultivating confidence. And a lot of confidence happens through repetition, happens through keeping your word, keeping yourself accountable, making base hits, and ultimately making home runs. Mindset's very important because in that darkest moment, in those hardest moments in your life, in that moment, how you feel, how you talk to yourself, how you speak to yourself is mindset. That is who you truly are. So when everything is taking you down, you're at the bottom, you think you're out, that mindset that you cultivate, that speaks to you in that moment, that is why mindset is important. Because if you can cultivate a mindset that is strong and keeps you accountable, keeps you moving when nothing else does, when your money isn't right, when your relationships aren't right, when your health isn't right, when your inner peace isn't there, mindset, if you can cultivate this to a level that is quite high, this thing alone can carry you when nothing else is going your way. So that's why it's one of the foundational pillars in this life. So through mindset, friends, through health and fitness, through family relationships, through inner peace and career and money, these are the 5 foundational pillars in this life that you need to elevate to a certain level. As we elevate these, friends, we start reaching a point where we're better and better ourselves. We start to improve. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, the idea is self-mastery. That is the end goal. Will we ever reach it? I don't know. But the point is to strive for it. And like my channel name says, the point in this life for me, and maybe for you because you can relate, is to continue to improve. I want people to say, oh, he continues to improve. And that's why my channel name is what it is. Because in this life, friends, I don't want to stagnate. I want to find an area that is a weakness in these pillars and elevate them. I'm working on my physical fitness and my health. I'm working on my career and money. I'm working on my relationships, my low EQ that I was exposing myself of, and my family relationships, and my inner peace as well. And through that, friends, I want to increase my mindset as well. In future videos, I'm going to teach you how, like mindset, like all these other foundational pillars, I continue to elevate them. But I needed to show you what the 5 pillars were that I believe are important in this life in order to be successful. Thanks for watching, friends. I'll see you in a future video. As always, until then, take care. I'll see you then.